All right, this is Ed Weir. Let's go ahead and get started. This is a live broadcast. If you're watching this later, my name is Ed Weir, former manager of the Social Security Administration. We're going to talk about a benefit cut that a lot of people don't realize is fully being phased in next year in 2025. And we'll talk about that. And as usual, how this works is these lives is I talk about the topic of the day, and today is that benefit cut. It'll take about 10 or 15 minutes, and I'll spend the rest of the hour answering any of your questions and all things retirement, disability, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, all the rest of it. So make sure you type your question in the chat, and I'll get to as many as I can within the time. If you're watching this later in the recording, make sure you subscribe, and that way you can find us again, or if you or your family ever have any questions. And I'm going to keep you updated on all of the changes for Social Security, Medicare, and all the rest of it. A lot of changes coming over the next year based on the Supreme Court, the election, and all the rest of it. All right, let's stop stalling and get right into it. What is the 13% benefit cut? As regular viewers to this channel know that there's a lot of clickbait BS out there that people say, hey, this is going to happen next year. This is going to happen next year. And then you click on it and you find out it's some low-level congressperson somewhere in the country that's putting up this proposal to give you free ice cream and unicorns forever, and it never goes anywhere. So it's all clickbait. But this 13% is happening. It has happened. It has been happening for the last many, many years. But the people born in 1960 will turn 65 next year. And remember, in the early 1980s, part of the Greenspan Commission, the full retirement age was changed. Let me throw up the chart here real quick. This is the charts that we're talking about. So remember, in the old days, you could retire at 65 years old. Well, after 1983, when they passed those, no more. It continuously increased, and now 1960, those turning 1960 will be 65 next year. So this is fully phased in. So this is a benefit cut. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. And how is it a benefit cut? It's a 13% benefit cut. Even if you took your benefits, if you were born in 1960 or after, your benefits will be cut by 13%. If you took it at 62, it's cut by 13%. If you wait till you're 67, it's cut by 13%. If you wait till you're 70 to take your benefits and get those delayed retirement credits, you'll get those delayed retirement credits, but it'll still be cut by 13%. If your full retirement age was 66, not 65, 66, then your benefits will be cut by 6.5%. So people that their full retirement age was 65 are getting essentially 13% more money every month than you. Every time you raise the retirement age 1 year, it's a benefit cut, 6.5% benefit cut for everybody. And in 2024, this year, the average retirement check is $1,918. So if you were born after 1960, then you're essentially going to get a $249 a month benefit cut, less than someone whose retirement age was 65. And again, about half of that for people that were full retirement age in 66. It's about 0.5% every month. So if your full retirement age is not 65, you're getting less based on the raising of the retirement age. And I'm going to tell you something else that's also a benefit cut that kind of dovetails in there. And why did this happen? This is part of, I would argue, the assault on Social Security. You know, there are solutions. I've talked about many of them, but the people in power don't like those particular solutions. They would rather cut benefits, raise the retirement age, because they're talking about it again. This is unbelievable, the gall. Next year, again, the raising the retirement age has finally been fully phased in. And now it's phased in. Everybody's receiving a cut. Those people after 1960 receiving a 13% cut. And they're talking about doing it again, raising it to 69 years old, to 70 years old. So if they did that, 69 years old, you're looking at about a 26% cut of benefits. If they raise it to 70 years old, you're talking about a 32.5% cut in benefits. And I kind of gave away the my other part. I'll talk about that. But this is kind of a boiling frog strategy. I talked about the long-term strategy of those trying to shut down Social Security, and they tried to do it right out, just pass legislation and say, hey, let's get rid of it completely. That didn't work. So they're trying, to kind of kill it, 1,000 cuts. And this is one of the ways they do it, but they never do it for people that are close to retirement. So the reason you're getting a cut, the 6.5% cut, a 13% cut, is when you were young, you didn't stand up because you were young and you didn't think about retirement, or your parents didn't stand up and say, no, let's not raise the retirement age. There's other places to help Social Security, not raising the retirement age and cutting it for people, $249 for people that need it. There's other places that we can save Social Security, but they didn't because their benefits wouldn't be affected. So, hey, it doesn't affect me, and it's going to be the future, and who cares? It's not going to be there anyway. So that's kind of the boiling frog strategy is the idea. It's a bad analogy, but if you take a boiling pot of water and you throw a frog in it, it'll immediately jump out. But if you take the boiling water or cold water, put the frog in it, the frog will just sit there and then boil, never leave. So terrible analogy. I'm an old Marine Corps sergeant, so I have all kinds of terrible analogies like that. All right, so it's not only a benefit cut. It's not only the 6.5% or the 13% or whatever it is. You're also having to subject yourself to the annual earnings limit for 2 more years. Remember, when you file for early retirement benefits, you're limited to the amount of money you can make. So if you're for retirement age of 65, you can continue working at 65, receive all the benefits plus the extra 13%, and continue to work, and it won't affect your Social Security benefits. There is no $1 for every $2 and all that kind of good stuff. But because they tacked on those 2 years, you have to work 2 more years and 2 more years of limitations. And that also affects your spouses. So if you're the high wage earner, you can't, if you're working, you can't file at 65 like the older people did. You have to wait till you're 67, and that also affects your spouse's benefits because your spouse, if it's a lower wage earning, if they're less than half of your primary insurance amount, they won't be able to collect benefits until you collect benefits. So it's a cut there. So your benefit check is being cut. You have the more work limitations, and your spouse is not able to receive benefits. So it's a cut and a cut and a cut. And this was, we didn't stand up at that time, and they're trying it again. So I would recommend, if you're interested in these cuts for you and your kids and your grandkids and all the rest of it, because there's several ways. I've talked about this many times, so I'll just go over. There's several ways that the solvency of Social Security can be, increased up to 75 years or beyond. And then the trust fund is not the issue. The trust fund was put there to address the needs of the future baby boomers. It was like, hey, we're going to have 76 million people retire. Let's put some money away. There, we put some money away, and the issue is going forward from that. Obviously, they miscalculated the trust fund a little bit, but I've talked about that too many times. If you want, I can talk about it again. But there's several ways to address the issues of Social Security. One is raise the retirement age again, 69, 70. Don't like that. Everybody that has been on here before didn't like that either. The COLA increase. You're also getting a hit for the COLA increase. In 1980 and prior to that, the COLA, the cost of living for seniors, was about the same as everybody else. But since then, health care has gone up exponentially. And the COLA, how it's based, is based on a younger worker. It should be based on the CPI, the Consumer Price Index of elderly workers, which take more into consideration in terms of health. So you're also getting a cut there. There's an option to raise the FICA percentage for everybody. Everybody pays for the Social Security part 6.2%, and then their employer pays 6.2%. You pay Medicare, but 6.2%. And there's people in Congress say we should just raise it for everybody. I don't think that's the idea. Diminished customer service. People think that there's a bill, a appropriations committee budget that went up the last week or so cutting $500 million from Social Security, which I would argue, because I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country, is a benefit cut. Because if you've been watching my channel, you know we find millions of dollars of benefits for people because they can't get into Social Security. The people in Social Security give them the wrong answers, and they're losing benefits, which essentially, if you can't access your benefits, it's a benefit cut. There's taxes on benefits. That was also started about at the same time under the Greenspan Commission in 1983. It was at first at 50%, then they raised it to 85% of your Social Security taxes are subject. Your Social Security benefits are subject to taxes. There is a proposal out there that to cut the Social Security taxes, which is fine if you have another solution. If you cut the Social Security taxes, then that's going to reduce that's going to bring the trust fund down a year or two. And it's going to deplete sooner, and there's going to be more issues. But half Americans don't pay taxes anyway. So when you're cutting those taxes, you're cutting it for people that are high wage earners. So it's another cut to people. There's obviously 10 or 20% people in there in between that pay taxes, but most of them are, relatively wealthy-ish. That's a little bit more complicated. But if you're cutting those taxes, you're essentially hurting the regular people because there's going to be a benefit cut in the future. There's also a proposal out there to means test benefits that if you're getting, spouse benefits and, you have more than, 401k and a pension, then you don't get the spouse benefits. That's another proposal out there. And another proposal, which I personally recommend, and I've talked about this a few times, and every time I talk about it, everybody says, yes, is raise the FICA cap. Not the FICA tax, the 6.2 on you. No, don't raise that. But the cap. A lot of people don't realize that you only pay FICA on $168,600. Anything over that, you don't pay the Social Security part of FICA. So I'm sure everybody watching this is paying all of their wages coming in. They're paying FICA on. If you're making a couple $1 million, then you're not paying that. You're paying less than 1%. If you're making $20 million, then yeah, it's infinitesimal amount. Or if you're probably not paying FICA at all because you get all your money from capital gains. So that's my personal recommendation, and a lot of people out there, my regulars, agree. All right, so that is the 13% or the 6.5% if your full retirement age is 66 or anywhere in between. You have got a benefit cut, and the final year that it's fully phased in is 2025. So I wanted to throw that out there, and that way when you hear about another cut coming, another retirement age increase, you'll know what the history is and that that you're already getting those benefits cut. All right, let's move into the questions. Keith became a gold member. Thank you very much for the support. We really do appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Take and Took is always looking out for us. Linda, what if I was born in 1958, but I've already retired? So will I remain getting the same amount I've been getting? Right? Yes, you will get the same benefit you're getting, but what I'm saying is that's cut. So you were born in 1958. So what is that? So you've already got a few percent cut based on because your full retirement age wasn't 65. So you've already got the cut, unfortunately. Remember, averages also include the highest and lowest amounts. The more accurate is the median, which is lower. Yes. Yes, I agree. The max he's talking about, he or she's talking about the average check. The top check for people that paid into Social Security, the max amount for the 35 years is about $3,800. The max you can get if you paid full. So the top, the most you can get from Social Security if you retire at your full retirement age is $3,822. If you wait until 70, the max is $4,873. Dr. Weir, lots of talk about raising the cap. I get it. Sounds like a no-brainer. However, I also hear that those people would have to be paid higher Social Security amounts, what would be done about? Yeah, that's what I talked about yesterday. The PIA, the bin points. Remember, I said that Social Security calculates your benefits by your averaged index monthly earnings. They take the high 35 years of earnings and they average them. They index them for today's dollars, essentially. And they come up with a monthly average of 35 years. And then they take these bin points. They calculate it's part by 90%, another part by 32%, another part by 15%. So there is a kind of a progressive benefit formula there. And what's to prevent us from adding another, 90, 32, 15, 1, or 3, or 0.1, or cap, just as everybody that are receiving survivor benefits and have a family or disability benefits already has a cap on the amount of benefits they can receive. So are they still trying to get rid of spousal benefits? Yeah, so there was a lot of kind of clickbait stuff out there about spousal benefits. And usually the clickbait was, there was a law passed in 2016 that stopped what's called the file and suspend thing. And those final people were kind of grandfathered in earlier this year, or grandfathered out earlier this year based on their age. And so a lot of people took that as a way to make some clickbait that spousal benefits are now gone. Well, that strategy is now gone, but it's just basically if you file for spouse benefits, you have to file on your own record first. And then, yes, there is a Republican Study Committee proposal that most congressional politicians and senators signed on to, that they want to means test spouse benefits. All right, let's see. When is this to happen? It's already happened. If you're receiving benefits or you're going to receive benefits in the future, you're taking the cut. Let's see. Trying to get some new people here. Anthony, I'm running out of time on a continuing basis for the hour, so I want to get as many new people. Ed, Semper Fi, hoorah. I am 63 and a veteran and VA medical. I have a small repair business that is an S corporation. I make a small amount of money per year as payroll, and then I take some money as, is there another part? Let's see. Okay, here's the other part. I also have a 401k and contribute to it weekly. My main question is, if I was to take early Social Security, would I try to stay under the 22,000? Does the distribution money I take from? No. Well, accountants are pretty smart. They all pay all kind of different. It depends whether that distribution money you count that as net income to you and how you put it in. So if it's wages or net income from a business, then it will count as the $22,320. If it's unearned income, like your 401k on IRAs and stuff like that, that doesn't count. Social Security obviously wants you to, get those type of benefits. Remember the old three-legged stool. You get pensions, you get your savings, and then you get Social Security. But unfortunately, it seems like it's turned into a pogo stick that 40% of Americans are, living on Social Security alone. And believe me, that 249 people are like, oh, it's already been done. And so it's like, who cares? Well, those people that are getting $249 less per month. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm 59. I believe that my FRA is 67. I have a feeling that I make it to 67, they will change it to 72. I certainly hope not. That's why I do these videos like this. And yes, the 13% benefit cut, it is 100% a fact. I try not to do the whole clickbait stuff, but YouTube is YouTube and social media is social media. So you have to, spice it up a tad bit. But the thumbnail that you see, there is 100% a 13% benefit cut for those people over 1960, 100%. So I try to get people to watch this so they can get activated. So that doesn't happen. The reason you were getting the benefit cut is because when you were young, you didn't think about it. And when it was passing, you could have said at that time, your parents could have said, Well, benefit cut, that's going to hurt people. 13% benefit cut, 6.5% benefit cut, and then their spouses are not going to be able to do it. And they're going to have to, annual earnings limit. They're going to be another 2 years. And isn't there other places, right? So I talked about that a little bit yesterday in terms of what at that time in the early 1980s, 90% of wages and income was subject to FICA, the Social Security tax. But since then, the rich have gotten incredibly rich, and then, which is fine for them, but unfortunately, that takes money out of the FICA. So we've lost about 7 or 8%. And if we can capture 90% of FICA, people paying a FICA by raising that cap, then Social Security will be good for many, many, many more decades, rather than a benefit cut like raising the retirement age. What if I've already retired and already getting Social Security benefits? So will my amount stay? Okay, yep. So your benefits are not going to change. You've already got the cut. Yes, the earnings limit sucks for sure, because that is less dollars being added to the Social Security fund. Because yes, I agree. People that file early, they need the extra money, so they would like to work. And if they work, they pay more into FICA and stuff. But people ask me all the time, do I always have to pay FICA? I'm currently receiving Social Security benefits. Why do I have to pay FICA? You have to pay FICA forever. But remember, Social Security determines your benefit amount by your high 35 years of earnings. So if you're 85 years old and you worked and made a whole bunch of money when you're 85, Social Security, once you file your taxes next year, you send it to the IRS sends it to Social Security, and Social Security looks at it and says, is this one of the high 35 years? Yep, this is a high 35 years. So they recalculate, and that is 100% automatic. You don't have to do anything, and your benefits go up. So, all right. Shannon, I am on disability, and I switched insurance April 1st, and they told me my doctors were on the plan and my meds were also, but they are not. Yeah, that's you have a bad Medicare insurance agent or broker that didn't check when you did the Medicare Advantage, because you're talking about doctors. If you have a Medicare supplement, that you can go to any doctor that takes Medicare. So that is a Medicare Advantage plan. And what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to ask you what doctors you want to continue to see, and so they find a Medicare Advantage insurance plan that has those doctors. And then they ask you what prescriptions you take, and they try to find a plan that has those prescriptions in the formulary and saves you the most money. So it sounds like you just had, a bad person help you out. Unfortunately, there's a lot out there, and that's why I put together my own team. So if you need help with Medicare Advantage, Medicare supplements, then reach out. I've got my phone number there. Call me, leave a message, tell me your name, your state, and that you need help with Medicare. And if you don't need help with Medicare now because you can't change, a lot of people can't change their Medicare Advantage plans now. They can't change until October. Call that number and say, hey, Ed, put me on your list. My name is Bob, and I'm in Kansas, and I want to put me on your list for October. And I'll put you on my list for October, and my people call you in October when the new plans come out and check to see if your plan is the best, because they change every single year. All right. Zippy, yes, increase the cap. All right. Yeah, that's I haven't seen anybody that so far is against that. There was a study I saw that some university did an analysis of what people want versus what Congress passes. And I hate to be pessimistic, but it's like you've got something that, 70-80% of people in America want done, and then Congress does the complete opposite. And why they do the complete opposite, unfortunately, because Wall Street and health insurance companies and all the rest of them. Yeah. So, but we've won some battles, World War II, Civil War. So I think civil rights. So I think, we can win this battle. At the end of April, they took me off of Medicaid, and now I have to pay for my Medicare out of my check, and my insurance is not paying anything for what I can do. Yes, unfortunately, during the pandemic, people, the federal government came down and says, hey, don't kick people off Medicaid. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Don't kick them off Medicaid. So they didn't. And then when the pandemic is over, the federal government says, okay, now states, you can go ahead and do it. Unfortunately, a lot of people are being kicked off Medicaid, which is the state health insurance. You can have Medicare and Medicaid. And what Shannon had was the state Medicaid was paying for her Part B premium, the $174.70. It's called the Medicare Savings Program. But she did her recertification and they decided she's no longer eligible. But millions of people are being kicked off incorrectly. So Shannon, if you disagree with that decision, make sure you fight it. But if you know that you lost Medicaid because of extra, resources or income, then, but what happens is when you lose Medicaid, you also lost your Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan. And a Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan is for people that have Medicaid and Medicare, certain levels, the higher levels of Medicaid. So you have Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan. Those are the ones that give you, extra benefits and, dental vision, some over the counter, some electricity, depends on your area. But if you lost your Medicaid, then you lost that plan and you have to find a regular Medicare Advantage plan. It's not going to be as good as your dual eligible plan. I can almost guarantee it. But yeah, you need to find another one. So, call, email me and say, hey, Ed, have one of your people call me up and they'll go through all your options because you don't have to wait for October. There are certain situations where you don't have to wait for October. If you have a Medicare, if you have a dual eligible, you have Medicare and Medicaid, you can change your plan several times a year. If you have extra help with the prescription drugs, you can change it several times a year. If you've moved, you can change your plan. If your plan leaves the area, you can change your plan. So there's all kinds of special enrollment periods. Let's see. If you are let go by an employer and you receive severance pay on your SSDI application, what do you put for the last day able to work? The date you were terminated, or the date you were terminated, the month, the first month you go under SGA, the substantial gainful activity. This year is the $1,550. The first month you go under that and earned income. So if you're, August, you're going to make under $1,550 in earned income because you only worked a few days or whatever. But you're also going to get a check for, $10,000 for this, that, and selling back your vacation pay and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't matter. That's for previous stuff. We're talking about actual work. So the first month you stay under the $1,550 for earned income. All the rest of the stuff is not relevant. However, in those situations for, Social Security disability and also for early retirement, Social Security computer system is not that smart. So you might get particularly for the early retirement, you'll get a thing, you might get a nasty gram next year that says, hey, you said you stopped working in August and you were going to be under the, for the early retirement is $1,860, but you made $6,000 that month. All you got to do is go down to Social Security and say, yeah. The other $5,000 was severance pay, or I sold back leave, or, whatever the case may be, and they'll fix it. Easy. Restricting work when taking early retirement is dumb. Less dollars being put back in Social Security trust fund because of the limit of NORC. Trump said today, no tax on Social Security benefits and no tax on tips. The no tax on Social Security benefits is it's good politics, but it's bad because there is billions of dollars coming into the Social Security trust fund that will disappear. And if you say no tax on Social Security, okay, that's fine. What's your plan to replace that income? And if I've done this a few times and I've got the links, I've got the plan links for both presidential candidates. I've put them up there several times, and there is zero plan on that side. So again, that's going to hurt half of the population because it's going to make Social Security insolvent. It's going to reduce benefits in the future. So yeah, that's unfortunate. But it's good politics. It's a cool little statement until people scratch the surface and say, wow, that's a bad plan. Also, I am still working part-time from home. So does the amount I have to stay the same as well? I believe it's, $22,320. Yes. If you're receiving early retirement, that is the annual limit. Remove the FICA cap altogether. Yes. Problem solved. Yeah. If it's no more taxes on Social Security benefits. And how are we going to fix it? How are we going to do that? We're going to raise the cap. Then I'm all for it. Yes. 100%. Yes. And then it's not just a political BS statement. Sorry, but that's the reality. So anything other than that is just a political, trying to get your votes. Anyway. I waited till 73 to retire and I get the max. What is killing me is the amount of taxes I am paying again for Social Security. Is there any movement of getting rid of that? I just talked about that. But yeah, if you waited till 73, you lost 3 years of benefits. Hopefully you retired from your job at 73, but hopefully you started your Social Security retirement benefits at 70 because they don't go up. If you started your benefits at 73, you lost 3 years of benefits. So that would have paid your taxes for a long time. Isn't there some means testing in place currently, Irma, in benefits? Aren't we already on a slippery slope? Yes, on high wage earners, it's means tested. There's an extra premium for high wage earners. So if you made $400,000 or $500,000 2 years ago, and you sign up for Medicare, your Medicare is not going to be the $174.70. It's not a means tested. I guess it is. It's means tested. Kind of means kind of a cutback. I guess it's kind of a cutback. Anyway, potato. But yes, you're right. You get a higher premium for the more money you make, but you can. A lot of people pay that, but they don't realize they don't have to if they currently stopped working and different situations. So if you ever have one of those, make sure you come back here and we'll walk you through it. But yeah, and then there's the SSI, which is not Social Security, supplemental security income. That's an income-based program. Can I get a copy from Social Security, a copy of my original SSDI award letter? Yep, absolutely. Just go in there and they will go into eView and print it out. That's the system, the internal system that all that stuff is set up in. I am 67. I've been collecting Social Security on my deceased spouse since I was 65. Does this mean in 2025? Well, no. Again, so I want to make sure I'm clear on this. The cut has already happened. You're already receiving a cut. Unless your husband, his full retirement age was 65, and then your benefit is based on that. Well, it depends on when your full retirement age. The cuts have already been instituted, and that's what I'm saying. The cuts, and they're fully instituted in 2025. So they've been piecemeal for the last many, many years, and now in 2025, the whole thing. It's 67 for the rest until they change it to 69 or whatever. Audio lost. Everybody, let's see. Just Jeff. Hey, long time no see. Dr. Ed Community, hope everything's doing incredible. Thank you for all you do. Please hit those likes. Yes. Yes. This is the way the information gets out to more people. I've been seeing posts and videos on YouTube saying everyone would get 2 Social Security checks this month. Yeah, no. That was last month, and that's another clickbait BS thingy. It's when the people that get paid on like the first and stuff like that, and the first lands on a weekend, then they get their check on like the 31st instead of the 1st. So that's when they're getting 2 checks, and it's not 2 checks. It's just more clickbait. But I did do a video myself. I did a video that says you do get, millions and millions of people do receive 2 checks. A lot of you here are receiving 2 checks. You don't think you're receiving 2 checks. But if you're receiving retirement benefits and spouse benefits, those are essentially two checks. They're put into one direct deposit, but those are two checks. If you're receiving survivor benefits and retirement benefits, those are two checks you're receiving into one. If you're receiving disability and spouse benefits, that's two checks. If you're receiving disability and surviving spouse benefits, that's two checks. Yeah. So, but the problem is, people don't realize, if they're on disability, they can get other stuff. They're on, retirement, they get spouse benefits. If they're on Medicare, they can get Medicaid. So the whole thing is just way too confusing. And that's why I've done over 600 videos, and I continue to do this live Q&A to answer your specific questions. Keith, I've been seeing, I already answered that one. Were there more Republicans or Democrats? This was actually, it was during, so it was a Greenspan commission during the Reagan administration. So it was under Republican, but yeah, on back in 1983, the Greenspan Commission, it passed pretty much overwhelmingly across party lines. And maybe I should say that again. They come up, and that was one of the reasons the tax on Social Security, the debate back and forth when politicians work with each other. They negotiated and they came to compromises, and that's part of politics is compromises, but they actually came together and talked to each other civilly. And that's an unusual thing nowadays. And that's one of the reasons we got this gridlocked. So if my FRA is November 2024, 66 and 8 months, I'll have a 13%. Yes, everybody, yes, it's fully instituted. So when you look at your benefit amount online, the cut is already in there. For yours, it's not the full 13%. It's 12 and some change or something, 11 and some change. It's you've already got the cut because they raised the retirement age. Yeah, I'm turning 60 in December and I'm on disability. Ex-husband passed away 2012. We were married 19 years. If I apply for survival benefits, does it hurt what I earn now? What you earn now, if you file for, okay, I'm turning 60 and I'm on disability. Okay. So you are on disability. I'm assuming you are on disability on your own record. You're not receiving disabled widows benefits on your ex-husband's record. Well, that's your ex-husband, so you wouldn't be able to do. Okay. All right. So you're receiving disability benefits on your own record. And yes, you can get two checks. You can get your disability check and add surviving spouse benefits on top of there. And that doesn't affect your disability benefits. You will continue to receive your disability benefits. That benefit won't be affected. You continue to receive your Medicare based on your disability. You'll just add extra benefits on top of it. Of survivor benefits. So you'll be receiving disability, Medicare, and surviving spouse benefits. Yes, absolutely. If there's more money in there, obviously his benefit amount has to be more than yours. And since you're thinking about starting it at 60, it's going to be a full reduction, 71.5% of his benefit amount, full benefit amount, depending when he retired. When you go into Social Security, and so I would call Social Security, set up an appointment and say, I want to file for a surviving spouse claim. And then they'll call you up or you go down to the office, whatever the case may be. You can't do this part online and say, I want to start, I'm turning 60 in December. I want to start my benefits in December. Do it 3 months before. That's plenty of time. And then when they give you the numbers for December this year, say, what if I wait a year? Change my MOE, the month of entitlement. It takes 2 seconds for them to change it, and say, how much if I start my benefits December next year? And then you can make an informed decision and says, okay, well, if that's an extra $50 or $100, maybe I should wait. And so, but if you're like, if you want to wait, you just say, well, thank you very much, bye. But if you want to start your benefits right now, you just, all right, turn them on. So, yes. A lot of people, they think if I receive survivor benefits, that's going to mess up my disability. I'm not going to be able to get disability and I'll lose my Medicare. And no. Please share, like, subscribe. So this YouTube algorithm AI thing sends this out to more people and people get information that makes them money rather than cat videos. Nothing bad about cat videos, but anyway. I'm sorry, I just saw you were on. I'm confused. Are we getting extra money? I am having ads and phone calls every day. I do not know who to believe. Went into my account and I've seen, yeah, no, that's again, it's already been instituted. Your benefit has already been affected. You're getting calls every day. So that I'm sure those are Medicare insurance agents calling you every day and, all the rest of it, trying to set you up with a Medicare Advantage plan. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Medicare, just passed a regulation, and not sure if they can continue doing that based on the Supreme Court ruling, but there's a judge in Texas that said this regulation is okay, that these people can't harass you like they have been harassing everybody out there. And they're able to do it because when you call or fill out a little direct mail thing or push a button on Facebook or whatever, then that person calls you, and if they can't enroll you and they can't make any money that day, then they sell your information to everybody in the country for $1 here, $1 there to make up their money for advertising. And Medicare has come down and says, no, you can't do that. If Karen says, Medicare insurance agent in Topeka, Kansas, Bob, you can call me, then he can call you, and he can't give your information to everybody else. That's how it's been happening up until now. He's been giving your information out to everybody else. But they can't do that anymore. And because of that, luckily there's a few call centers, with hundreds of people somewhere in the United States. They've got all these hundreds of people in the call centers, just call people all day and harass them with lunchtime and dinner time and stuff. And because that's been their MO, that's been their business plan, is to just, buy cheap leads and just call everybody. But now they can't do it. So they've been shutting down. So if you had a Medicare insurance agent that helped you out last year, they might not be around anymore because they were shut down. They were closed down. So if you need help, call, email me, and we can find someone to help you out. I need help prescription, so I need to know what to do. I'm in Nebraska. Yeah, the Part D plans are changing quite a bit next year. There's a lot of flex on Part D plans. We're not exactly sure. It looked like it was going to be, there was Part D plans that were like $1, $2, $0 this year, and next year it was looking like, yeah, those are all gone. It's going to be $50, $100 for a Part D prescription drug plan, but it looks like nobody knows. Nobody knows until October 1st. So get with someone that you know and trust, or call me up and say, hey, Ed, put me on your list, and we'll have someone to call you up when the new plans come out in October. So if I get SSDI in the future, that 13% will come from the SSA online payment I'm projecting to get. Yeah, the projection is already, the 13% cut is already in that projection. So for instance, if it shows 2,500, is that percentage already taken? Yes. So you would have gotten an extra 13% on top of that. So Take and took 409 watchings. Awesome. Only 104 voted. Yes, please upload videos. So yeah, more people get this information. I know there's every time we find more money for people, like the person that was, just now that we just found money for that person because she was paranoid about filing for survivor benefits while she's on disability. Now she knows she can. So all y'all, which is the Texas plural form of you, all y'all have just helped her get more money and made her life easier, because I'm just an idiot sitting there making these videos and they mean nothing unless people watch them. And how do people watch them? Is y'all like and share and stuff like that. So y'all just found, you just made this her life easier. So thank you. I'm receiving survivor benefits effective March 2024. I could have started receiving them June 2022. Can I request the missed payments by not applying when I should have? No, unfortunately. Yeah, you've already started it. Unless you started the benefits and you're saying, hey, wait a second. If you had contact, it's a protective filing. If you called them in March and started your benefits that month, then yeah, unfortunately, no. But if you just realized that, wait a second, I called them in January or December, and but they were too busy or whatever the case may be. So you can call them up and say, wait a second, I just realized I called you all a few months earlier and I should have started my benefits that time. So they can reopen your case and hopefully start you those few months early. Obviously, your benefits are going to be reduced because you're going to be taking it more months early. Wow, a 13% cut signed into law in 1983, a 41-year-old cut, and this isn't clickbait. And by the way, it's a 16% cut for someone claiming at 70. Yeah, it's I don't think it's clickbait. It's people, again, it's people realize they're getting cuts. It is a 13% cut, 100% true. And the final, it's being fully phased in 2025. So tons of great info on Medi in California. I presently have IHSS and home support because of my disability. I am close to being over the limit for Medi-Cal. Medi-Cal, the state of California. Every other state pretty much calls it Medicaid, but California, they call it Medi-Cal, which is confusing. But yeah, if you're going to be over your limit for income and resources, then you're probably going to lose your Medicaid and IHSS. You definitely need to reach out to Medicaid in your state. Do you think HICAP have any additional resource to assist with Part B? HICAP, not sure. HICAP. To help with Part B is Medicaid, the Medicare Savings Program through your state. And then another way to pay for your Part B is Medicare Advantage Part B give back plans. So in your area, you might have a plan that pays part of your Part B. But I always say be careful of those because health insurance companies don't get to be billion-dollar insurance companies by being dumb. If they're going to just pay for part of your Part B, $50, $100, $174, whatever, they're going to take that out of other places. They're going to charge you more for prescriptions or more for a hospital, whatever the case may be. If you're healthy, then yeah, absolutely take advantage. Or I always recommend those for people that are that have VA and they go to the VA predominantly, but they want to keep Part B. So there you go. You can have your cake and eat it too. All right. There is a pension available to me because of my disability. California Medi-Cal is okay. So this is the second part. Yes. So can I take this benefit without it putting me over? If with any type of income related welfare means tested system like that, number one is if you have other money out there that's available to you, it's like you're receiving Medicaid or, food stamps or SSI or whatever. And then all of a sudden you hit the lottery and you're like, well, I don't want that lottery because I want to keep on Medicaid. No, it doesn't. If you have another pension out there, I don't want to start my pension because that's going to affect my Medicaid. No. You have to take those benefits. And if you do, and they're over the limit, then unfortunately, yes, you're going to be over the limit. We'll wager if Biden or Harris would set up a no Social Security or tip tax, you would be cheering for it. The bottom line, Harris. I did a few days ago. I compared again just Social Security, all the other stuff being equal, as economists like to say, which never is. But I just looked at the plans for Social Security and Medicare, particularly Social Security for the two candidates, and one is obviously a clear winner. So. How can you tell a politician is lying? Their lips are moving. Yes. Sue, I think Dr. Weir said that. Okay. Let's see. Please pencil me in for October to go over what prescription plans are available as open enrollment is. I'm in Nebraska. Yep. So email me or call and just leave a message, your name, your state, and say, hey, I need help in October, and we'll put you on the list. IRMA means test, an increase. Yes, an increase in Part B premiums. Absolutely. This is a bit of clickbait, a tad bit. This happened years ago. It sticks, but this is not new. Well, it becomes fully added 2025. Yeah, so the full cut takes effect in 2025. Up until now, every year it's been a cut. Every year it's been a cut, and the full cut starts in 2025. So, tad bit of clickbait, but I just want to get it out there because they're talking about it again. It's been next year, it's fully instituted, fully phased in, and not happy with that. They're like, let's do it again. Every baby that is born must have a mandatory CD APY rollover account. The IRS technology. I turned 65 in May. When should I sign up for medical? Yeah, about 3 months. If you are, so you turn 65, if you're receiving Social Security benefits, then your Medicare will start automatically. So you don't have to do anything. About 100 days before you turn 65, Medicare will send you your package. If you're not receiving monthly benefits, then you actually have to sign up for Medicare, and you do it about 2 or 3 months before. Go online, and you can just sign up for Medicare and not start your monthly benefits. That's not an issue. You can just start your monthly benefits later. But if you have health insurance from work and you're happy with it, and there's your work or your spouse's work, and your employer has 20 or more employees, then you don't have to do anything. All right. Lion, I am waiting until the full retirement age. I'm 65, but I need to get SSI aged. Will that be taken from my retirement benefits? Can they force me to take it early? I was already talked out of it. So if you're receiving SSI aged, that is a welfare-based benefit. And if you have other money in there, yes, they can force you to take your Social Security. I'm surprised they haven't forced you already. Well, you're receiving aged, so you probably just started receiving it. So they should have already calculated that in there. So when you get SSI aged, the max you can get is $943. And if you filed a claim for SSI aged, they already looked at your retirement benefits, and they should have already started your retirement benefits or taken those into consideration. So that means your retirement benefits is less than $943, and that's why you're getting SSI aged. So let's see. Are there other benefits I can get that I'm not aware of, but I'm on SSN now, Social Security number? Yeah, you're on Social Security now. Yeah, I did a video on all of the other benefits. Again, before I worked for Social Security, I worked for the Department of Welfare. Let me pop it up. This is okay. So the one on the bottom, how to live on Social Security alone, about a 17-minute video. I did 4 videos, a longer one that were like super slow and boring. And anyway, so I've expanded it. So check this video out, how to live on Social Security alone. And then the other benefits, make sure you check out this video on the top with 2 checks. That way you can see if you're eligible for, retirement and survivor benefits, disabled widow benefits, independently entitled divorce benefits. A lot of people out there aren't getting that second benefit. And yes, you can get 2 checks. It's a separate benefit, a separate type of benefit on your account, or a separate type of benefit on another work record. That is, spouse, ex-spouse, divorce spouse, independently entitled divorce spouse. So, I've taken hundreds of thousands of claims, and that's how it works. Let's see here. Chicken, yeah, old chicken in every pot. What is that guy out of Huey Long? Yeah, out of Louisiana. Promise that. Social Security, yeah, he's one of the reasons that Social Security was passed is because he was out there saying stuff like that, and so yeah, Social Security and the Great Depression didn't hurt. Social Security recommended to wait until January 2025 benefits and will collect from April 24 up until claim in 2025. Can I wait or claim it? Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Disability, survivor benefits, retirement benefits. Yeah, not sure what type of benefits we're talking about here. So if I receive Medicare, I can also get Medicaid. I'm currently receiving a military retirement pension from my ex. I'm 65 and haven't applied for my Social Security yet. Yeah, Medicaid is a welfare-based program administered by your state. So if your income is low, it depends on your state. Usually if your total income, you personally, is under $1,500, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 in some states, then you can get Medicaid. But it is a welfare-based program, so limited income and resources as well. I've seen a video about a $5,500 one-time relief check for Social Security sector is going to the Senate now. Is this true? Yeah, again, that's one of those things that you've got some lower-level politician, congressperson or something, and they're looking for votes. And so they say all this crazy stuff and stimulus and this and, you know, rainbows and unicorns, and then you vote for them, and then they got what they wanted and they move on. So unfortunately, a lot of it is clickbait. Let's see here. If you are working while receiving Social Security benefits and they take one for every $2 over the limit, do you ever get that money back? Yes and no. You don't get that check back, but this is a good question. Thank you. So what happens is I did a video on this. I've done a video on everything, over 600 videos. It's called ARF, Adjusted Reduction Factor. So how it works, if you take your benefits early, let's say 30 months early, so your benefits are reduced by 30 months. And after 10 months, you get bored, like, well, it took me like 10 days. You get bored and you decide to go back to work. After 10 months, you go back to work and you don't receive your checks for the next 20 months because you're going over the limit. And so the Social Security doesn't send you those checks. So you only receive 10 months of checks. So what happens is once you hit your full retirement age, the Social Security computer system does this automatically, and they recalculate your benefits. So instead of a 30-month reduction for the rest of your life, you only get a 10-month reduction. You don't get those full checks back. You just get unreduced. So that's how that works. And it's completely automatic. You don't have to do anything. Let's see, Stephen, Ed, I'm on Medicare Part A and B. If I can't find a Medicare provider, how long do I have to sign up for Part D prescription plan things? Yes, so you basically the same type of thing. You have to sign up around the same time you sign up for Part A, Part B, 3 months before, 3 months after, 7-month period there. And if you don't, then you're going to be penalized for the rest of your life. And here's another reason I decided to, put together my own team, is because there are so many people out there being penalized for Part D. It's not much, but hey, it's 1% for every month you didn't sign up. And what's happening is people, when you sign up for Medicare Part A, Part B, great, but you've got a lot of gaps of coverage that you need to fill. So people either get a Medicare supplement plan or a Medicare Advantage plan. And a Medicare Advantage plan, most of those plans have Part D already in there, so you're good. Medicare supplement plans don't. You have to get a separate Medicare Part D plan. So when you signed up for Part A, Part B, you reached out to someone, and somebody called you and from some giant call center, and they signed you up for Medicare supplement. They wanted to sign you up for Medicare Advantage plan because they make more money on that one. But anyway, you demanded a Medicare supplement plan, and then you ask about prescription drugs, or they asked about prescription drugs, and you say, I don't need that. I don't take any drugs. And they're like, I don't make any money on it. So, okay, bye. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years later, you have to take prescriptions. And then you get a penalty for 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years. And you can't sign up until January, February, March. And it's going to get worse this AEP season, this annual enrollment period season, because there's so much flux in the Part D. And so unfortunately, you have to sign up for it at the same time. The same type of penalty. You get penalized if you don't sign up for Part B when you're supposed to, and you also get penalized for Part D when you're supposed to. So if you don't when you're supposed to. Dirk, hi, Dr. Ed. I'm 67, divorced, collecting Social Security since 62. Spouse is 60 this year, can make a claim on theirs. No, they have to be 62, at least 62, and receiving. Oh, wait a second. So you're divorced. Okay. So you're divorced, you're receiving benefits. So I assume your spouse, your divorced spouse, your ex-spouse, is 60. No, they have to be 62 for you to file for spouse benefits, and their benefit has to be twice your amount. And here's another thing that I know there's hundreds of millions of dollars of people losing out there. So please share, subscribe, yada yada. If a lot of people think that you've got the lower earning spouse, divorced spouse, or whatever, and they're receiving their benefits, and their ex-spouse, their divorced spouse, is not receiving benefits, and they're 62, the other one thinks, well, I can't file for spouse benefits until he or she files for benefits. No. It's called independently entitled divorced spouse. Your previous ex-spouse just has to be 62. The month they hit 62, file for benefits as spouse. It's a little bit more difficult claim, but you're entitled to those benefits. You do not. There are too many people out there waiting for their ex-spouse to collect benefits. Do not. And they're saying, well, I'm not going to collect because it'll affect their family's benefit. No, it won't. So please go get those money. Go get that money. All right. We are over an hour. Let's see here. Linda says, put me on her list. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have your phone number or anything and where you're at. So please, email me or just call, leave a message. All right, Davy Boy. I don't think I recognize Davy Boy. Let me get some people that I've never seen before. I'm a widow with widow benefits. I was born in 59. They still have not given me a Medicare card. Called them, written to them, trying to deal with them for 4 months. Your widow benefits and born in 59. So yeah, you're not going to get, unless you're receiving disabled widows benefits, then once you receive disabled widows benefits, you have to be disabled, then you get it in 2 years. But yeah, you won't get a Medicare card until you hit 65, and you won't hit 65 till next year. So let's see here. Other question. Oh, I don't think I recognize this person. Let's see. If I sort through CMS info for Part D providers and costs, will a third-party rep be able to provide information I wouldn't have available? No, not necessarily. Yeah, the Part D, it's pretty easy to go onto the Medicare.gov and put in your prescriptions and sign up through there. The other stuff, I recommend have someone help you out. But and again, if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, but I assume you have a Medicare Supplement plan. That's why you need a standalone Part D. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan, then there's a 99% chance you already have a Part D on there. All right. So I think, let's see if any other people. Richard, it's already extremely difficult to live on Social Security or SSI or SSDI, and they are cutting it. It's so nice to have millionaires in charge for. These people are beyond rationale. How did they pass? Yeah. I could see maybe the one jump in 1983, but to 67 from 65. Okay, all right. Yeah, that was okay. Whatever. But yeah, another jump from up to 69 or 70, 100% when there's a clear option that it seems like everybody that has ever joined this channel is 100% against. So, or excuse me, 100% for is raising the cap above the 168,000. So, all right, that'll do it for today. And if I didn't get to your question, I apologize. We've run out of time. I will be back again tomorrow. I've got tomorrow's topic is on avoiding Medicare penalties. And then I'll talk about that for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'll answer all the questions for the rest. So if I missed your question today, please